Why does your dog keep staring at you? Not for a second, not while waiting for food, but those moments when you suddenly look up and find your dog already watching you, quietly, patiently, almost as if it is waiting for something. Most owners notice it, few ever question it, and even fewer understand what may actually be happening, because the truth is far more interesting than most people realize. Many people assume their dog is begging, looking for food, waiting for a walk, or simply being curious. Sometimes that is true, but sometimes your dog is staring for a reason that has nothing to do with food, toys, or attention. In fact, some animal behavior experts believe these moments reveal one of the deepest parts of the relationship between dogs and humans. And once you understand why your dog stares at you, you may never see that look the same way again, because what appears to be a simple glance may actually be communication, and that changes everything. Most people grow up believing that dogs stare because they want something: food, play, a treat, a walk. The belief makes sense. After all, dogs quickly learn that humans control valuable resources. If staring works, they keep doing it. But here is where things become fascinating. Researchers studying canine behavior discovered that dogs do something unusual compared to many other animals. They willingly make prolonged eye contact with humans, and that behavior is surprisingly rare in the animal world. In fact, among wolves, direct staring can often be interpreted as a challenge, a warning, a signal of tension. Yet domestic dogs frequently do the exact opposite with humans. So what changed? The answer begins thousands of years ago. As dogs evolved alongside humans, they developed an extraordinary ability, not simply to live with us, but to read us. Scientists have found that dogs pay close attention to human faces. They monitor expressions, body language, movement, and emotional changes. Long before many owners realize it, their dog is already gathering information. That means staring is not always about sending a message. Sometimes it is about receiving one. Your dog may be studying you, trying to understand what happens next, trying to predict your intentions, trying to make sense of your emotional state, and suddenly the stare becomes something very different. Not demand observation, but that is only part of the story, because if dogs are observing us so carefully, another question appears: what exactly are they looking for? The answer surprised researchers. Dogs do not simply react to what we do. They often try to predict what we are about to do. Studies have shown that dogs pay attention to subtle patterns in human behavior. The sound of keys being picked up, a shift in posture, a glance toward the door, the movement of a hand toward a leash. Tiny details that most people never notice. To your dog, these details are valuable information. Over time, dogs become experts at reading routines. They learn what happens before something happens. That means when your dog stares at you, it may be collecting clues, not because it wants something immediately, but because it is trying to understand what comes next. And this ability may be one of the reasons dogs became so successful living alongside humans. They learned to pay attention to us, perhaps more closely than any other domestic animal. But observation alone does not explain everything, because there are moments when your dog already knows exactly what is happening, yet it still stares, and this is where things become even more interesting. Researchers discovered another remarkable effect of eye contact between dogs and humans. One study found that when dogs and owners shared relaxed eye contact, both experienced increases in oxytocin. Oxytocin is sometimes called the bonding hormone. It plays an important role in trust, attachment, and emotional connection. The same chemical becomes active between parents and infants. Think about that for a moment. Your dog may not simply be looking at you. Your dog may be strengthening a bond that evolved through thousands of years of shared history, and most owners never realize it is happening. Scientists believe this mutual response may have helped strengthen cooperation between humans and dogs over generations. In simple terms, eye contact became more than observation, became connection, a silent bridge between two different species, one that neither side fully understands, yet both seem to feel. But here is the surprising part: not every stare means the same thing. Context changes everything. A soft stare with relaxed eyes can communicate something very different from a hard stare with a stiff body. This is where many misunderstandings begin. A relaxed stare often appears when a dog feels safe, comfortable, connected. The dog is not demanding, not worried, simply engaged, watching someone important. Much like people sometimes watch those they care about. You may have noticed this yourself. Your dog is resting across the room. Nothing exciting is happening. No food is present. No game is being played. Yet every time you move, those eyes follow you. Why? Because attention follows importance, and to your dog, you are one of the most important parts of its world. But a different stare can emerge when uncertainty enters the picture. A dog may stare when trying to understand an unfamiliar situation, a new visitor, a strange sound, an unexpected object. In these moments, your dog may be looking to you for information, behavior. Experts sometimes call this social referencing. Dogs often look toward humans when they are unsure about how to react. Researchers have repeatedly observed this behavior. When faced with something unfamiliar, many dogs check their owner's reaction before making a decision. If the owner appears calm, the dog often relaxes. If the owner appears nervous, the dog may become cautious. In other words, your dog may be asking a silent question. Is this safe? Should I worry? What should I do? And that realization changes the meaning entirely. The stare is not confidence. It is trust. Trust that you might have the answer. But there is something even more important. Some dogs stare during emotional moments owners often overlook. You sit quietly after a difficult day. You feel stressed, frustrated, sad, and suddenly your dog appears nearby. Watching, not moving, not demanding attention, just present. Many owners describe experiences like this. Moments when their dogs seem to notice something before anyone else did. While dogs do not understand human emotions exactly the way humans do, research suggests they are remarkably sensitive to emotional signals, changes in posture, tone, facial expression, movement, breathing, patterns, energy levels. Your dog may notice changes before you say a single word. And what looks like staring may actually be attention. Focused emotional awareness, a silent attempt to understand what is happening to the person they care about most. That possibility feels very different from simply wanting a treat, does it not? But here is a question many owners never ask. What does staring mean from the dog's perspective? Imagine living in a world where another species controls almost everything important. Food, shelter, safety, movement, routine, social interaction. Now imagine that species also happens to be your closest companion. You would probably pay attention to it, a lot. That is essentially the world dogs live in. Humans shape nearly every part of their daily lives. So it makes sense that dogs become highly tuned to human behavior. The more connected a dog feels to its owner, the more attention it often pays. And attention frequently appears as staring. But there is another layer beneath all of this, one that many owners miss completely. Dogs are social animals. Throughout history, survival often depended on staying connected to important members of a group. Watching others mattered. Knowing where they were mattered. Understanding their intentions mattered. Some experts believe part of this ancient social instinct still exists today. Except now, for many dogs, the social group includes us. That means your dog may not simply be watching a human. It may be watching a family member, a trusted companion, someone whose actions matter, and suddenly the stare feels less mysterious, yet somehow more meaningful. But there is still one final piece of the puzzle. Perhaps the most powerful piece. Because sometimes dogs stare for no immediate reason at all. No food, no toys, no commands, no uncertainty, no obvious reward. Just quiet eye contact. These moments often confuse owners the most, yet they may reveal something beautiful. Relationships are built through attention. Humans know this instinctively. We pay attention to what matters. Parents watch children. Friends watch each other. People often glance toward those they trust without even realizing it. Dogs appear to do something similar. The individuals they trust most often receive the most attention. And attention is rarely random. A dog that repeatedly watches you throughout the day may be revealing something deeper than dependency, something deeper than routine. Connection. The dog is not merely tracking your movements, it is keeping track of you. There is a difference. One is monitoring behavior. The other reflects emotional importance. Think about the moments when your dog chooses to be near you even when nothing exciting is happening. No treats, no toys, no rewards, just presence. Many owners assume loyalty is shown through following. But sometimes loyalty is shown through watching, quietly making sure you are still there, quietly checking in, quietly maintaining a connection that requires no words at all. And perhaps that is why these moments feel so powerful, because somewhere, deep down, humans recognize attention as a form of affection. Not all affection looks like excitement. Not all affection looks like tail wagging. Sometimes affection looks like calm observation, a peaceful awareness of someone who matters. And that brings us back to the original question, why does your dog keep staring at you? Most owners assume the answer is simple. Food, walks, treats, attention. Sometimes it is, but the truth most owners miss is that staring often serves many different purposes. Observation, learning, trust, communication, emotional awareness, social guidance, connection, and sometimes simple companionship. What looks like a simple behavior may actually be one of the clearest windows into your dog's mind. The next time you catch your dog quietly watching you from across the room, pause before looking away. Ask yourself a different question. Not what does my dog want, but what is my dog trying to understand? What is my dog paying attention to? What is my dog feeling in this moment? Because the conversation may have started long before you noticed it. And the stare you thought was ordinary may have been one of the most meaningful signals your dog gives every day. The real truth is that your dog is not always staring because it needs something from you. Sometimes it is staring because you matter to it. Because you are its source of safety, its source of routine, its source of comfort, its source of connection. And once you understand that, the stare stops feeling strange. It starts feeling personal. A quiet reminder that somewhere in your home is an animal that has spent years learning your habits, reading your emotions, following your movements, and paying attention to you in ways most people never notice. Not because it has to, but because the bond matters. If you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments. Does your dog stare at you often? And after watching this video, do you think that stare means something different now? If you love learning the hidden psychology behind dog behavior, subscribe and join us for the next discovery, because your dog may be communicating far more than you ever imagined.